So here we go. First game underway. We can see Rusty Roster is actually on the defensive side and Oops on the offensive side. And Oops biasing themselves mostly towards the one cap. And we see the same thing coming out from Rusty Roster. Only those bat shots just about spotting each other.
This is a really new lineup of Oops, so we cannot expect anything. Algo, first time in a Go League, Spoink after 2 seasons. Algo is immediately going for the cap, and he will lead the debate actually we spoke about.
Yeah, Algo, what you can see here, Algo drove behind that building, and until Rusty Roster destroys all the buildings, which they are doing now, they cannot see him and they can't reset him. So a little bit of pressure being put onto Rusty Roster as well, but those British heavies should be able to clear out our cap pretty quickly.
Yeah, but Algo is still a low silhouette tank, and it's a light tank with the highest camo value. I'm really interested, can they even reset him easily? But look at this budget going there for A2. Can he do the climb like Ru?
He can do the climb in the Ru. Pashka is probably doing the climb right hard, but it does seem like he failed it, so not getting up there right now, but Algo does go off the cap, and we see the very hard pronounceable name, the tier 9 Chinese heavy, going up to A4 in that...
Shebzhishenyan.
I'm gonna have to train on that, Shebzhishenyan.
But you learned my name, you can do anything.
At the same time, we can see Meilan and Feaster Fetzak and Silans joining them as well. Towards that southern part of the map here, and Spoink already spotting Figo, but Oops slowly but surely taking control over that south side of the map.
Interesting thing is we are almost in 2 minutes, and after kind of a shocking start, there is actually no damage exchanged.
Yeah, almost 2 minutes into the game, and both teams very passive as Spoink takes control over that J1 position. Camel Eater being the first person here to take his shell, and it looks like Rusty Roster realized what Oops is doing and are starting to counter it, rotate through that BC line themselves.
I would say they're trying actually to press on and catch Oops. They still think, I think, that Oops is there around Algo, and by the looks of it, they might actually fall for Oops' plan from the start.
Yeah, everybody from Rusty Roster getting spotted out here though, so a great amount of information for Oops. As you can see, Spoink already in D1, taking a lot of control here, Insane on the cap, and Algo still in that position, but Pashka in that tier 9 batch that should be able to go clear him out, as don't think Campbell's gonna get in position quickly enough to support.
There is a really low damage exchange so far, and they're chasing all on Algo while they have several tanks on the cap. I really don't know why they don't send just one guy to deal with him. I mean, he's almost dead.
A bit of a mistake from Oops coming out, though. Only putting Insane on the cap, not putting a lot of pressure on Rusty Roster. They still have it only Insane on the cap for now, but Spoink has a flank on them. But what does Oops have to do to close out this game? Because it looks like Rusty Roster is just moving as one big unit.
I don't understand. We saw yesterday that the people who usually move with one big unit, they win because they take out one guy at a time. Even Camille, who is down on the downside of the map, he's actually spotted all the time, so he cannot be a surprise here.
Yeah, Camel has been spotted there. He can't actually cross that road. If he crosses that road, everybody will be able to hit him. We can see Figo there. He has a nice cross shot, and Insane here has to back out, taking a lot of damage. Seems to have been caught out here. If they manage to track him again, it could go down. But it does look like he managed to get into safety. But Catch Me in return, taking a massive amount of damage.
This is actually really good for Oops. Oops was almost 2k HP down in one moment, but now this is pretty even Steven.
Yeah, we can see Pashka in that tier 9 batch trying to go around and maybe surprising Spoink, but doesn't look like Spoink is going to fall for that, as all of Rusty Roster's tanks are very clunched up in this 2 sectors of the map here, as Pashka still trying to do something in that tier 9 batch, but has to be careful as he's now a 2-shot to Spoink though.
He's almost dead, and I think he will fall. I don't think he has anywhere left to run.
You can see here Rusty Roster still trying to get Insane, but Pashka should go down.
Only one shell for him and broke the house to kill him here now.
Yeah, Spoink almost throwing that though, but still surviving on 19 HP and taking a nice advantage here, but he's getting chased down at the same time. So
Oh, that lucky survival of Insane, but not anymore.
Yeah, at the same time, Yamto goes down as well, though, but Oops taking the overmatch there, pushing first with Meilan. Feaster takes down Prosto, and Catch Me as the next target, as Meilan in return takes a lot of damage here, but Shebzhishenyan needs to reverse here as well. It's now only 3 tanks left from Rusty Roster against 5 of Oops. Yes, 2 of them are low HP, but still gun in the game.
This game really goes up and down as far as you watch it. This is much tighter than any of us could have even expected. There is 4 guns still in the game for Oops, but only one guy has HP. Everyone else is pretty much down. Oof, 4-2 now.
Yeah, Subterranean, I mean, Camel making a mistake here as Basista should be able to pick up Silence or that 50B from Melan as he does get tracked on the
Nice.
corner, double tracked and blown up by Camel Leader, and Figo at the same time getting clipped by Feaster Fetzak, and it looks like Oops managed to claw their way back into this round as it's Silence picking up the last kill, bringing it 1-0 in favor of Oops, who had 995 HP remaining at the end of that round.
4 guys, everyone is on one shot for a light tank, I would say even. And the reason why they won, I would say, was exactly, we could see it in last seconds when Melan survived. They were clinging purely on skill. Tactic-wise, this was a blunder.
Tactical-wise, both teams, very strange starts. Algo kind of left out to die just in that 0 line.
It was, I guess, part of the plan of the team. They thought they will catch someone from the back, and as you noted, they should have had a couple of people on the cap to provoke some really serious reaction from Rusty Roster, but there was none.
Well, Algo spotted all 7 tanks of Rusty Roster pretty much.
Yes.
They knew exactly where everybody was, yet Insane was the only guy capping. Why did they not put 3 guys on the cap and forced Rusty Roster to come in for that decap?
Probably the problem was because most tanks they have are 50Bs, and they're really not cute tanks to put them on a cap because you can rest them from anywhere because of tall silhouette. And they were relying on heavy fighting, so this was a lot of mini one-on-one duels. This was not really tactical, this was just brawling.
Yeah, you could see here in the highlights as well that Algo here getting caught out by that tier 9 Batchet and Figo, and then Spoink here picking up Pachka in that tier 9 Batchet as well, and Insane luckily surviving there.
Really, but he didn't last long. But this was really a crucial moment when Meland actually managed to track him without dying, so they had actually a chance to finish him off. Otherwise, that tank actually had potential to kill them both.
Yeah, Basista could have probably killed Meland if he got around that corner for 1 shot in return, and then maybe even got Silence. But there was another 50B in the background, so might have been hard for him in the end, but
Shoulda,
still.
woulda, coulda. But like this, 4 guys, almost on no health, a win.
A nice D-track coming out. We could see the 50Bs, even with 200 HP, making a big difference in the end. The individual player skill from Oops coming in there, we could see that in the end, clawing back that HP step by step.
I hope they will see them in a bit heavier lineup next, because this was risky as it gets, and I don't think they can get that lucky twice.
Yeah, statistically, Ghost Town was one of the better maps as well for Oops last season.
Yeah, definitely 70%. While we were checking out the stats of Rusty Roster, we can tell you guys they have only one map about 50%. So whatever we say statistically, it's all about Oops.
It's going to be all about Oops statistically, but Rusty Roster with their new lineup did show good signs there, I would say. No fear, pushing as a big unit. Do you think that's going to be their tactic for the rest of the match here as well, just taking 7 tanks and going around the map?
It was actually a good call from them. You don't have to do it usually and always, but by their pick, we saw they actually want a brawl. When you take tier 9 heavy and things like that, that means you want a close combat. You do not play otherwise. So from them, that was a good call. It was a decent play. It was just lost a bit one-on-one.
Yeah, you can see here Feaster Fetzak and Meland, 2 new players to the team. Feaster Fetzak, no Gold League experience, coming in 4.7k damage, 12 shots, 2 kills, and then Meland in his 50B, 4k damage. We were saying in those 50Bs, we were criticizing them in the beginning of the match, and Feaster Fetzak and Meland go like, we'll show you what the 50B can do.
This is actually brilliant. They did more damage than the next 4 guys, but the thing, while the game was so close, look, next 5 guys are from Rusty Roster.
Yeah, Prosto, Pashka, all there, and then we find the next player from Upsilons there in that 1-1-3.
Oh wow, even Algo actually managed to do some damage, and I would say when you watch this is actually crucial because everyone was on one shot.
Yeah, Algo doing some damage there as well, so we could see Feaster Fetzak and Meland pretty much turn that game around for
Hard
their team.
carry even for random, and for this it's kind of really strange to see.
Well, it's pretty hard on a map like Ghost Town to effectively do a lot of damage because there's a lot of corners you have to peek, and only the very best players can effectively peek those corners and do the damage without taking a lot of damage in return.
3 full clips, more than good for a clipper survival ratio.
Yeah, Feaster Fets, I think I might have one of them on my fantasy team actually.
You dirty.
We, just so you know, we have a little internal competition. Who is going to have the best fantasy team? It's not going to be very hard for me, but Mojo might try.
I'm gonna trip you, mate.
But now we're moving into our second round here between Oops and Rusty Roster. Now, Oops on the defensive side. We talked about their statistics last season. 70% win ratio.
On Ghost Town, yes. What we need to just focus is now Oops actually realized that Rusty Roster can take a round from them because this was really close game. and I believe they will be more cautious about it this time.
Yeah, let's take a look at the lineups and see if Rusty Roster also favors that 50B heavy lineup. As no, it only seems like they're bringing only one of them, but countering that with 2 tier 9 bad shots.
That's actually really viable lineup because it's a move really fast rotation force, and they have enough single shooter DPM to cover them. This is pretty nice, but also this time we can see Oops has 2 tier 9 heavies.
Remember
that means
from yesterday?
you want to fight.
Remember from yesterday, it's like I was talking yesterday, that was very telegraphed when you bring those tier 9 heavies that at one point you're going to try, if you can, you're going to try and get yourself in that one cap.
3 1-1-3s and 1 T10, you can use any kind of combo of them and just go in one cap while the other guys are protecting it. So this is pretty much it, but Rusty Roster actually has a decent response in those butchers. If they get in time, they can actually flank from the back.
Yeah, those butchers might be able to get the rotation on, and maybe, although it will be very hard, but Rusty Roster, I want to see a good match here. I'm going to give them the advantage in this round.
I like their tank pick at the moment more, but it's all about players. At the end of the day, tactic is one thing, player skill is actually the one that closes the deal.
Yeah, I have to favor Oops in the player skill department, though, by a little bit.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. Those 1-1-3s, though, why bring 3 of them?
Usually when you really want to clinch someone, push forward fast or put tanks fast in a cap that actually have some armor, that's the pick you take. Also T10 is also very usable, or VZ tier 9 because they're approximately the same.
Does look like our second round here is ready between Oops and Rusty Roster as we go into Ghost Town. As we can see here already, Oops with those 1-1-3s. Gonna be very interesting to see what they're going to do, and Rusty Roster also, just like Oops, biasing themselves towards that one cap in the beginning, and very strange opening, I'd say, from Oops, going very aggressive towards the southern part of the map.
Have you seen this yesterday when people were sending really fast the light to spot out, is there anyone coming that way? So they're rotating with the rest of the tanks below, right behind, so they can take over that little courtyard, let's call it, on C7.
This position from Spoing, though, this is something we almost never, if ever, see from a 1-1-3. Teams
Never.
only put bachas there. Why 1-1-3?
I really have no clue what they plan there. Like single shooter like that and a heavy tank, no less, that can get caught by some fast rotations, and these guys have 2 tier 9 mediums. Are they using him in a bait because Feaster and other guys are actually covering him?
They could be using him as a bait, but this leaves the entire one cap open for Rusty Roster, though. What is Oops' response going to be? As we can see, the heavy commitment from Rusty Roster, already putting a lot of guys in that capture circle, pushing it down to 35 seconds now.
Oh, they left Algo, the new guy, to take the bullet for them because he's always alone on the map.
Poor Algo is going to have to reset his base, as most of his team is going to have to do a very long rotation to get there, and they didn't destroy any of the buildings, which are going to make for very hard resets. As you can see, Basista spots out Algo here.
This is a big problem. Look at that corner. Insane is the only one in real position to reset anything at the moment, and he's already covered. Algo lost some HP trying to come from this side, but he will see only top of the turret. This is actually really risky.
Yeah, Yamto and Basista taking some damage here, but Insane taking some damage in return. They push the cap back, though. It's back all the way up to 35 seconds, so Oops managing to get the reset, but the full push coming out from Rusty Roster here, as Insane is going to be the first one on the chopping board, and not a lot of teammates in position to cover him. Only really Melan and Spoink and Algo being able to do anything, as it doesn't look like Rusty Roster is about to stop, and they're just keeping moving forward.
They would be really silly to even stop doing this, because this is the best advantage they had. It is even late how far they saw that Insane is alone and not covered by his teammates, but they're still taking significant damage.
Yeah, Feaster Fetzak taking down that tank as well, though, but here a lot of tanks from Rusty Roster on this corner, as HP is starting to get more even and even, as Mayland in that 1-1-3 and Silans, but Camel Leader is on reload, so those single shooters from Rusty Roster can do a lot of damage here if they manage to get around the corner, and Figo is not on reload, so Mayland and Silans have to try and hold this corner as best as they can, as Catch Me gets blocked there by Prosto, getting his teammates killed, and now Janto driving in and getting picked up as well, and Bastista going down to Camel Leader. Everything's falling apart for Rusty.
This is definitely what we spoke about. It's not even about the tactics. At one moment, Rusty Roster had a clear advantage of more guns at one place. They only need determination to push and the idea behind it to drive them. But they were hesitating and they took the prize because Oops was just positioning well at the end and shooting them one by one, because they're not doing anything together.
I don't agree what they did with their Team 9 batch shots, though. You didn't utilize them to their full strengths. Trying to rush Algo there, in a pretty strong position and being able to cover by Feaster in that Amex 50B and making a difference here. If they could have come behind, for example, they would have done a lot more and they could have probably just ignored Algo.
I don't think they should, because the rest of the team was there right in front and he would pump their backs with a high alpha all the time, so that's not something you really want. Sending a Bachat tier 9 for him was okay. The moment where they hesitated to kill Insane because they were surprised he's alone there, that's where they lost the match. If they did it 10-15 seconds earlier, it would be a stomp actually, because Oops was in no position to resist them in that moment.
Yeah, so Oops now 2-0 up. I actually fully agree with you. As soon as the first reset came in, that is the point where their initial plan has failed. They need to switch over to plan B because they don't have the tanks to sit in that gap. The British Heavy, it has a good turret, right, but it's much easier to reset than, for example, an I7 or a 113. And then they should have taken the overcommitment on the commitment onto Insane, which took too long. And you could see Rusty Roster doesn't seem like they're all on the same page, as we could see a lot of blocking there going on in that push as well.
It's a caller shot that was late. I guess he was surprised because it does look insane that someone is alone there, like Insane was. Wow, it rhymes. But
The
then
pun.
the fun. But then again, the coordination they had on the corner when they pushed here was really bad, because they were still outnumbering the guns of Oops in that moment, and they were just going out one by one while Oops was backing up and doing really great teamwork.
Yeah, strange tactic coming out from Oops there in the beginning, though. A more experienced team would probably have committed a lot earlier on that capture circle, and
It does look like they actually expected a push from a whole different side here, and they really did not even see this kind of game coming. And their reaction was really sluggish. I'm actually quite worried about their future performance, because so far these two games, they won them, but they were sluggish.
yeah, let's take a look at the post-battle statistics and see if Feaster and Meyland in those 50Bs again. Meyland in the 113, excuse me. Meyland performing up to standard here. Meyland again coming in, 3.8k damage. He's had a massive performance so far. Definitely my player to watch.
You're a capitalist, mate.
I'm not sure if it was him or Feaster I had on my fantasy team, but still, you know.
Okay, so Mainland really, really good hard carry with 113. Spoink that played together with him most of the time here in this game, so both of them are pretty much in charge of destroying them. And look at this, Algo, who was practically alone on a map doing 2k, that's quite impressive.
Yeah, you can see Insane there. He was the first focus for Rusty Roster, so not doing a lot of damage there. And Prosto in that 113, he was actually the one blocking Catch Me, making it so he couldn't reverse and getting him killed.
Not the best positioning by him, but Insane did his role. He rested the cap. That's the only thing he needed to do and buy a lot of time for his team. He did that also. So mission success.
Statistically looking, it doesn't look good for Rusty Roster at all.
No.
We're going into our next map, which is going to be Himmelsdorf. And oops, Mojo, they have a pretty high win ratio there last season.
This is actually their best map. Last season, 82% win ratio. So I really hope for Rusty Roster they have something cunning planned.
We have to ask ourselves, though, as some of you might have noticed, Grossa is not playing for Oops. He was a big part of their team last season.
He was a leader, main shot caller, but he has also some other obligations, so he will not be with us that often this season. But I hope we will see him in some games.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing him again, but just wondering, how do you feel like it's going to change the dynamics for Oops, as Insane, it's been told that Insane took over the in-game leading now.
He can probably be helped also by Camille, I guess. And, well, so far, they have some problems with their reaction time. We see this, and they were not under huge amount of pressure. They had time to choose what to do. So we will see, will that reflect on some faster maps.
Let's take a look at the lineups and see if Rusty Roster decides to go super aggressive again, as double Batchat and an AMX 50B. We've seen this double Batchat being used before, but me personally, I haven't been a big fan of it so far, as it's very hard for a Batchat to perform very well on a map like Himmelsdorf, which is very heavy dominant.
Well, we saw yesterday a similar game like this. So with this kind of lineup, you have pretty much two choices. You will either rush the rail and try to catch off some tanks that are going there off guard, or you will do that dirty trick through the 8 line and hope you can actually do most of the cap while the other guys are protecting you. Well, that didn't work out that well yesterday.
Yeah, Mojo means with the dirty trick through the 8 line, it's where they push instantly both their bat shots through the 8 line, and if they do that, they can put a lot of cap pressure instantly, because a lot of teams right now on Himmelsdorf favor to go down the 1 line for defense in the beginning, and that double bat shot puts so much pressure that you have to force somebody
You have to risk a
reset.
lot of HP to go to reset them, and that's the key stone of their tactics, but it really depends on a defending team.
Our team's all ready, though. Oops, currently being 2-0 up against Rusty Roster. Let's get into it. It's going to be Himmelsdorf.
Himmelsdorf, a small city map. The teams start the battle in opposite corners. Both bases are located close to each other, but in a way that you can't stay on the defensive all the time. The main attack routes pass through the hill, the alley and the railroad, but in general, the attack can be successfully executed through any part of the map. Heavy tanks and tank destroyers with powerful guns run the show here. However, a lot depends on the mobile light tanks.
As we can see here, Oops on the defensive side, bringing that E3. Might be using the A4 position or maybe behind the A5. There's a little stairway you can sit behind, but most of Rusty Roster going instantly towards the rails, maybe trying to catch Spoink off guard in that bat shot, as those bat shots could fight him head on and maybe get the advantage, but Spoink has a lot of support though.
Oh, Oops, he gives no credit to Rusty Roster. They don't care if they send the entire team down. They actually decided to go there, and if they come, they will fight. They only left E3 to monitor the cap, so they are not really without any defense there. And really offensive spot by Algo, signaling them that 8 line is actually empty.
Oh, this could be going really badly for Rusty Roster, as Spoink does get spotted.
Oh, Shevzhenian and Pashka are in deep trouble here.
Yeah, that 1-1-3 getting 1.2k damage already and gets tracked. And Hallucinogen is the next target of focus here, as Spoink landing some shots on that 1-1-3 as well. Doesn't penetrate this one, but it lands this one with one more shot.
Will he finish him off?
No, no, another bounce from Spoink. He is on reload now, and those 50 Bs, they don't have any shells left, and those bat shots from out of Rusty Roster now coming in. Septuagint does go down, but Figo should be able to pick up Spoink here, and those 50 Bs are in a massive amount of trouble.
They're also really lowering the HP of Camille, but the main damage is actually coming from Oops. Look at the advantage on position and everything.
Yeah, Oops having a big positional advantage, but their tanks are falling one by one, but Oops is still trading better. We can see the HP now, 7.8 versus 6.3, and Meilan in that 1-1-3 has a very strong position to lock that down, and Insane can land some shells under those rails, and Meilan's come forward, lands a shell as well, and looks like Rusty Roster now has to reset and think what to do, but losing Catch Me and probably losing Pashka here as well in the batcha.
I really wonder actually what happened with Catch Me, because I saw him back at the church and Algo was actually the only one shooting him from the center of the map. It's really highly unreal that a light tank will just pound him to death. Maybe he actually got to disconnect.
Maybe he might have gotten a disconnect. We can maybe see in the damage later, but Insane here should be able to take down Pashka or Meilan. Meilan does come forward and take him down, and now Rusty Roster, Oops being on double their HP, and at this point, Hallucinogen. Okay, thank you, Mojo. And Yamto being stuck there on those 1-1-3s, and it does look like Meilan is starting to move forward in the Insane and Silans, as Figo gets spotted, and he's the only one really with any HP on the Rusty Roster side.
Figo is actually the only guy who can do anything about this map at the moment, but there is so much overwhelming HP on the rail from Oops that they really don't have to do anything except just cover E3 and push slowly to finish them off. And as long as Figo can move around, I think Algo can also follow him.
Yeah, Insane and Meilan pushing down there. Janto doesn't have the reload, it seems, but might reload quicker actually, but Meilan picks him up anyways. So it's Figo and Basista now left against 4 tanks, as Insane picks up Basista, and it's just Figo, full HP, but he has to take on 4 guys from Oops, and Silans that E3 is also on the full HP.
Main damage dealer of Rusty against 4 guys and a really whole lot of HP.
This is starting to be a little bit of a landslide here for Oops, as they look to be, you know, something magical might happen, but at this point, the Oops players have such an advantage that they should be able to close the round.
Well, this is kind of also deja vu for Oops. In the start of the last season, they won 5-0 to Rusty. They had a really good start to the season, but they did kind of start to slack to the end. So watch out, guys. Keep it up.
It does look like they want to start their season strong, as Figo going on the hill. If you might wonder why he's wasting time at this point, a lot of teams like to use this as a sort of timeout, because realistically there's nothing he can do at this point. The best part what Rusty can do now is Figo stays on that hill for 1-2 minutes, talks to his team, and they discuss what they're going to do for the next round, as their performance, they started off okay, but it's been going a little bit downhill here in a very, very all-in push. You know, everybody from Oops was ready for that push.
It was really sluggish, honestly. They had kind of overwhelming power there, but we still don't know what happened to Catch Me. But the only way I saw this kind of pushes win is A, if a defending team is doing a great mistake and sending too little number of tanks down, like maybe only 250Bs and nothing else, but Oops send almost the entire team down. And B, if you actually do a really risky action and attack from F3 and K line, both.
If Figo and Insane only knew how close they are at this point. They are not in range to trigger proxy. And
oh, there you go.
Oh, there we go. Now they're getting to proxy range, and Figo might be able to take down Insane here if he lands his shell. Takes the first one from Insane, lands his first shell. He has 4 more in the chamber. Let's see if he can do it, actually. Insane smartly blocking Figo here, so Figo can't go to
nice
the side.
pen, actually.
They actually go straight through his front. That's a very lucky pen, and Figo landing his third shell, has 2 more left, landing 1 more. He needs to land 1 more to take down Insane.
No, he will not.
He does take down, Figo does take down Insane here, but trading most of its HP for that, now down to 700, and you know, now Mayland is coming up the hill. The next challenger appears.
Next Giraffe up. Baguette is down.
Baguette is down, and now Mayland coming up the hill. But even if he kills Algo, even if he kills Mayland, there is
still a little one E3.
There's a little E3 he has to deal with.
Silence was actually the guy who brought victory in last match to Oops when they played against Rusty, and he was also one-on-one.
You can see Figo, exactly the same situation where he met Insane. Seems like history is repeating himself, and is he gonna come over this? Algo is also coming from the back, so has to be careful. And if he goes down that K line, there is Silence waiting for him.
Oh, will that be a one-shot?
Well, Silence might be able to pick him up here.
There
he
we
does.
go.
Bring
Steady
it
hand.
3-0 in favor of Oops. That's Silence in that full HP T123.
Silence or Silence? Silence.
Silence. Well, it's French, so I try and pronounce it a little bit French.
Silence.
Silence. I think it's Silence. I have to ask him.
Yeah.
Silence. I'm going to stick with Silence for now, but Oops. Looks a little bit worrying at one point there as those 50Bs came on reload, not making full effect of their clips, but the damage from the back from Oops was too much to deal with for Rusty Roster.
Those 113s were on 100% HP all the time, and in these kind of games they're more important than 50Bs because of the armor and alpha they can do, because when everyone drops the HP, single shooters are the one to finish the day.
Those autoloaders not having the effect we thought they would have, not for Oops and not for Rusty Roster either. Rusty Roster keeping their bad shots back, though, waiting for everybody else to be reloaded, but Spoink wasting a lot of shells on that 113 as we look at the highlights here from last round. We see Basista here as Camille and Feaster got pounced on by pretty much everybody from Rusty Roster, and Catch Me there in the 50B might have been disconnected as the church, as you said.
Yeah, I think that actually might have been a game breaker here, but even if he was there, I'm not sure would they be able to win this.
Well, Oops, as you said, those 113s being full HP, there wouldn't be much that Catch Me could do against it either. And Silence always in the back, full HP.
Yeah. Definitely better planning by Oops. A win for them. And let's see who did actually how much.
Let's see let's see actually how much. And Insane, you know, that you talked about those 113s. Just he had a pretty easy field day there, landing shell after shell as they came onto the rails and wasn't really ever under any pressure. And Algo in that RU251. 2.6k damage, 5th damage dealer here.
If Catch Me was not disconnected, he better should get to disconnect now after this.
He's not going to be able to recover from that. But the rest of the damage, pretty even spread. Figo.
He expected biggest damage, but most of it after the game was pretty much over.
And Catch Me does seem like he got disconnected here in the game. AMX 50B, 0 damage, 0 shots done as well. So
it doesn't look well. I hope he'll be able to come back in a game because his team needs him.
Just to explain, Mojo, the rules to disconnect, why we didn't restart this round.
First moment when people get spotted, or if 30 seconds pass, it's over. You cannot reset anymore.
So pretty bad. Catch Me got disconnected at that point, but hopefully he'll be able to get back into the lineup for Rusty Roster on the next round here. They're now on the defensive side. That's the one thing I would say they have going for them. They're on the defensive side because it's not looking good for them otherwise.
Still, Oops with 80+% win ratio on this map.
Not sure what Rusty Roster was thinking. Probably taking Oops on their taking them on their best
Maybe
map.
they didn't have Oliver's statistics like we do.
Yeah, we have Oliver, Ollie, as you might remember, to make the statistics for us.
He's a nice. It's his new job to make statistics for us.
Yep. Pretty much,
Definitely.
It's been decided from now on. But what do we feel Rusty Roster has to change to to be able to beat Oops, because it looks like they're always going for these brawls. But we can take a look at the lineups and see what Rusty Roster has prepared for us. As I was saying, what do they need to do? Because for now, we've only seen them push everywhere they gone. They've taken a pushy lineup. In this lineup, it looks more of a defensive one because the E5 and the 183 don't really push that well. The 183 especially, it's a great time to shoot people coming off the hill with, for example, in that hold on. But other than that, it's not a very mobile
This
one.
is quite a standard lineup where you push the rail with 113s and 50B. You push the 3090 to spot ahead, maybe center or down, you can choose. And then you keep back E5 in a window and TD. But from the Oops side, we have a risky combo again of 2 tier 9 budgets.
Why do we feel like the teams have switched away completely almost from FE215B heavies on Himmelsdorf? You know, last season we saw a ton of them, an amazing amount of FE215Bs, and so far yesterday and today we haven't hardly seen any.
It looks like everyone at the moment is into mobility and speed and not that much on DPM like before. I really don't know why. Maybe it's just, you know, in the first part of the season, everyone experiments a lot. And you need to settle to find a way to have something like a golden meta, and I guess this is that time.
We saw the meta last season for Himmelsdorf, where at one point teams started picking the E3 to go down into
And
that.
then Waffen, FE.
Waffen. Glad those days are over. But Oops being 3-0 up on Himmelsdorf, and we're going into our 4th round here on Himmelsdorf. Can Oops make it match point, or is Rusty Roster going to come back? Can see here that FE183 played by Pachka. Let's see how we can do in that. And everybody from Oops actually going down. Maybe they're going to do the 8-line strat with the bad shots.
Really aggressive approach from them, and it looks definitely like that. Unless they do a full turn or something, it's going to be that kind of defense. But Rusty has an E5, and they can put him on A5, which is really a defensive position, which is exactly what Shevchenian is doing. And they can maybe rest it from there.
Yeah, we saw yesterday Kaizu actually. Yesterday we saw Kaizu from there being able to reset, but I felt that was more of a mistake by peeking. But I'll go here together with Spoink. We'll get on the cap.
Yeah, they should know pretty much well each other. And I really am interested now to see, is there actually enough room for 2 guys here without being resetted? Because yesterday, the guy
like
where Algo was got resetted by E5.
Looking at it, maybe HE, but they should be able to sit safe there. I think the bad shots yesterday just peeked out, but Silan's already taking some damage here from that FETD. You can just see, not a penetration, but still 750 points of damage.
I would say that T5 is actually expecting that someone is covering the A-line. That's why he's so careful, so he doesn't get shot. But there is a trap here.
Yeah, Feaster, Fatsack, and Camel Eater in that 8-line in the trap. They didn't actually see Basista get past them on the hill. This could be pretty bad for Oops, but with 24 seconds left on the capture circle, Rusty has to make at least 1 reset for Basista to be able to get in here. As Catch Me, he's going to be in a world of hurt as Feaster Fatsack is just waiting for him there with his AMX 50B brother. And there we go. Catch Me will now be the first one that will 100% go down here, but at the same time, the push from Rusty Roster comes around the corner, and they push back Spoink and Algo, but they lose Catch Me in return.
It's really smart for Spoink and Algo. They did not bother to fight there. They know they're outnumbered, so runaway is the only option they have. So there is now advantage for Oops in gun number, and Basista is actually hesitating, and he's not going there anymore. He's coming back behind Feaster.
Yeah, Basista coming back off the hill. Maybe wants to put some shells into the back of Feaster here, who is low HP, would only need 2, but I'll go in that tier 9 bad shot on reload though, but Basista can't notice, as he should maybe be able to close down on Feaster, but at the same time, all of Oops is a tanker now in 8-line, and Rusty actually has the SP advantage.
Ooh, this is a nice shot from the drive-by. But Silence actually finishes Yamto also. So this is 7-on-5 now, though the most of the tanks with HP are Rusty Roster.
Yeah, Insane here in the D5 has to fight against Halu. Just going to call him Halu from this point, but Meiland pushing in, and there's nobody supporting Halu, so this is going to be pretty much a free kill for Oops, as bounce coming out from Halu, so is not able to pick up Insane, and Meiland. And another bounce. Oh, actually hits Halu's gun there, as Meiland does pick up Halu.
Completely out of the game. This TD is not utilized well, and if they lose, and it literally looks like they will, it's because of that. He was driving away from his team and not pushing together with them. He didn't fire a shot for last probably 40 seconds. That's his 2 reloads, and there you go, he's alone.
It's all but over again for Rusty in this round, as Pashka is the last one alive in that FETD. There's nothing he can do. Even Meiland is too much HP for him to one-shot. He might be able to pen it here, as he does, and he sets Meiland on fire, but has a fire extinguisher, and he should be going down here in a second, and that will bring Oops onto match point, Mojo.
Definitely, and this is the worst when you see someone does that 1700 damage and it will stack up with something he did during the game. It will look like he did a lot, but eventually defeat in this moment is actually on his hands because he took a wrong turn.
We could see Catch Me there. He's not having the best of performances today, as that trap from Oops waiting there and nothing he can do.
First disconnect, now this. Horrible day.
Horrible day for Catch Me, but what Rusty Roster, they had an advantage at one point, but this feels like the lineup hasn't fully synergized yet. You know, a lot of individual, you know, Halu being alone there, somebody hitting the gun of somebody else, just a lot of individual mistakes.
A lot of bad coordination between them, and whenever the battle starts all over the place, where you actually have to just do kind of a field play, you cannot really rely on any tactics anymore. They fall apart.
You can see that Pashka and that FVTD not using his HP very well.
He was not there for his team.
He was not there for his team. They did get the reset there, but Pasista, I feel like he still driven up the hill. He could have a lot more control than trying to come off that 8 line, and he could see Spoink and Algo and those tier 9 bad shots driving down the 8 line. There's no way he's going to be able to kill Feaster, and anything, he gives another tank in favor.
It was still a good choice, I think, because he was on low HP, so he would lower that side of the battlefield and maybe make them chase him, and something could happen. But again, in that moment, that TD was supposed to be there and give crucial shots to the tanks. And he wasn't. He was driving around with full HP.
With full HP driving around. So definitely something they need to work on. Rusty Roster had a lot of, as you can see the stats here, Camel Eater in that 50B. 4.8k damage, Mojo.
A lot of 50B action to get today and a lot of damage for them. Pashka,
yeah, Pashka's damage is inflated though. 3.2 of which 1.7 was on mainland after the game was already decided. So that 3.2 in effect is 1.4.
And the first guy after him, 1800, his team. Really low performance by them. Everyone in Oops was on so low HP, but they didn't have the finish shots because there was no cooperation between them.
Rusty Roster, they looked promising in a few rounds here, even in this round at some points having the HP advantage, but still, their positioning on the map.
I'm not even sure how promising were they compared to how Oops is sometimes a bit shaky and playing really risky at the moment. I'm not sure will this kind of games pay off against teams that are better composed.
Feels like the loss of Grossa might still hurt them in the long run.
We will have to see. We will have to see their next clash.
Yeah, and Catch Me in that 50B. I feel like I've had to say his name too many times on the bottom there.
But Yamto did not have a disconnect or anything, and he's pretty much the same.
So, Oops now on match point. It could be a repeat of last season's match where they won 5-0. Mojo.
Definitely looks like that third map is Steps though, and it's the worst map of Oops. From the last season, I really hope they actually took some lessons from that time, and there are so many new tactics and climbs. We'll see what they have planned.
Well, there's so many new climbs, of which some we saw at the Russian qualifier, making it very hard for an offensive team to be able to win on Steps. What do you feel is one of the possibilities? I personally think RT is a must-have now if you want to take down those annoying climbers.
Yeah, it's really annoying because you have 2 or 3 new climbs you can utilize as defender, and Oops are defenders. And really, I don't see any other way except some hardcore push that will maybe catch someone off the guard.
Yeah, let's take a look at the lineups and see if there is an artillery piece here. And doesn't actually. Oh, Rusty Roster. I just want to say I've been so correct with my lineups lately.
Look at this with tier 9 RT. It's actually a decent lineup that you have a tier 9 Bachat because you don't lose much on firepower, and that RT can one-shot any of these tier 10 mediums.
Yeah, the tier 9 Bachat is creating a new meta here, as beforehand the Lorraine is just something that you couldn't pick, but the tier 9 Bachat is so good in essence that now you can actually play with a tier 9 and he should be able to perform like a tier 10 tank.
Yeah, this RT is actually really mobile. It has a turret. It's even RT that's used in Clan Wars tier 10.
In Clan Wars and skirmishes as well, strongholds, this RT is a favorite because it has good mobility, it aims well, it has high alpha, but it does seem like our match is ready. Oops currently being 4-0 up against Rusty Roster. Can they close out the match, or is Rusty Roster going to come back? It's going to be Steps.
Steps, the most open map in the league. The attacking team appears near the rocks at the bottom of the map, and the defending team starts at the top. Bases are located near the railway and on the green. The best way to control them is to use the lowland near the second base. The attacking team usually begins the attack from the rocks and the railway, but sometimes they can attack through the green. Teams often drag vehicles from flank to flank, so both teams usually pick light vehicles with a good camouflage rating, but sometimes use tanks with a strong turret and even SPGs.
Said in the video, sometimes even SPGs, as Rusty Roster Pashka, first playing the FVTD, now playing the artillery piece, as it does look like...
Well, at least he doesn't have to drive with the rest of the team now.
Does look like there might be a restart going on here, as nobody is moving. We'll have to... It's going to have to be a restart though, so...
It looks like Catch Me is on a spot again.
Catch Me might have DC'd again, so... Gonna have to wait a little bit here, as we can talk a little bit more about that artillery piece coming into play here, and how a Rusty Roster is going to have to play around him to make him give those shots then.
It's going to be really interesting what will actually Oops now choose to do, because this RT they might actually neglect any kind of boosts and play more proactive. That's why Rusty Roster even took so many Clippers, because Clippers are best if you want to defend yourself against someone's push, because you start shooting them from the distance already and then you run. From the Oops side, what can they do in this kind of action?
They have two options, I'd say. They can either just go with their normal game plan and hope that artillery doesn't ruin it, do their climbs if they have any climbs planned, go for it and play so well that artillery doesn't get any shots on them, or they play a very aggressive game where they either push the western side of the map fully or the southern side, trying to lock down that artillery fully.
I would definitely not try climb this in this game, because they have so many Clippers and fast French tanks that can spot them, so they might actually get caught and annihilated in the start of the game. That's not something you want. It's better to take chances with will RT hit you eventually or not.
We've seen Wombats, they were the kings of locking down an artillery piece. I recall the season finals where they played against Penta, and Penta brought a 2-6-1, and they were so good at holding those positions and making sure RT never gets a chance. So even though Steps is a very open map, the best of the best can always make sure that you won't get any shells with those artillery pieces. But Oops, we've seen them in shaky in a few rounds here. That artillery piece, you think that's something they expected?
I don't think so. I really don't. We've even seen this RT used before in majors. I think Gohard used it on Ghost Town. Binomaya was playing it, and he actually missed 2 resets, and they lost because of that game.
I just remember when Penta brought double M53.
Double, yeah.
Double M53.
If you want to bring good cheese, it's like Penta style always.
The double M53, I think all of us were like, so Penta played Ghost Town, and they brought double M53, and we were like, this is never going to work. And then, I think it was Utopia they played against.
Yep.
YOLO straight down the middle and managed to lose. And I was like,
this didn't happen.
this didn't happen. That artillery piece is going to be very interesting.
Who will make a new cheese if there is no Penta around?
Maybe Dead Zone will do it with Kazna.
I'd like to see that. I can see Ilian accepting those tactics totally.
I can hear the conversation of teams to be like, Ilian, I have a great tactic. It's going to be with 6 Japanese heavies. And it goes like, no.
I don't think Dead Zone will have that much of impact on them, but yeah, they did bring him actually to stabilize their game. So maybe we will actually see some Kazna that is not fluctuating so much during the season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that, but we're still waiting for the game to be ready here, so stick with us for a little bit more. Rusty Roster, they're 4-0 up. We talked about this yesterday as well. It's a massive mental block. We already said, like, losing the first map 2-0, it's hard to recover from that. Going 4-0 down and knowing you have to win 5 rounds in a row to actually win the match, it's
but
an
we
impossible
saw
task.
yesterday great fighting spirit from Gohard. They were 4-0 down and they really fought to the last game. I really respect that highly. They won 2 games and they were on the brink of winning the 3rd one, which would be a game breaker definitely.
Oh, purple.
Yeah, poor Purple. Like, he will have nightmares because of that hole.
As it does seem like our game is ready now, and let's get it underway here. We can see that M53-53 and...
Wait, check the catch me. Is he moving? He is moving. We're in the business.
It does look like Spoink is in the RU251. He's going to do the climb on A8 That's a new climb over there that
And
RU251
he's their
from Spoink.
designated mountain goat.
He's their designated mountain goat. So if he gets up on that mountain here, as you can see, Spoink made it. It gives him a massive amount of control over that 2 cap, right?
Now, why is this important, guys? Because you can actually now solo boost. You do not need any kind of assist that can actually bring your entire team in danger from getting shot.
Yeah, now he drives all the way up top.
Is Insane climbing also on the other side? Wow,
Yes,
all the
Insane.
mountains are ours.
If we can look at Insane here, Insane is going to do the other boost, which gives you control over A2. We're not sure if he made it yet at this point, but the rest of Penta being very defensive on that side over the rails.
I would say this RT will be really needed here, and I think Insane is up.
Not sure yet if Insane is up. Does look like he got up on that A2 mountain, Insane in that batch shot. That gives him, as you can see here, Insane, you can also do this climb alone. It's a very hard one. I've been practicing it myself, and yeah, it needs a little bit more speed to do this part. But you can also do it solo. So now Oops has control over A1, and they have control over A0, which basically means that no matter what cap Rusty Roster decides to drive in, there will always be somebody that, one,
And
is
there you
able
go.
to spot them.
Success from Insane. So they can play now really passively. They can let go and just sit back and relax and wait and see what will Rusty Roster do. And Rusty Roster gave them really a lot of ground to do this. As you can see, it's needed 2 minutes. 2 minutes to do this. Rusty Roster gave them that and some more.
Yeah, you can see here Spoink and Insane, no matter what cap they go to, no matter where they drive pretty much at this point, they will be able to pepper them with shells. And Rusty Roster, I've not seen many teams that are able to recover from this position. We can see Insane, the angles he has from here are pretty insane.
This is really good. We actually, Ducky and me went in a training battle once, and I was driving with my budget over the field to see will I even see him there. And no way, guys, you can't see him. He actually needs to fire, and then he's in a cooldown high up on a mountain. You can even barely see the top of his turret.
It's not an easy shell for artillery either, as he's shooting up and
On the top of the map, yeah.
he's shooting on top of the map, and Spoink and that RU quick and nimble, and Spoink, such an experienced player. We talked about him being a mountain goat, and he climbed the mountain. Glad we got right though. So if they drive on this eastern cap, Oops doesn't have to do anything at this point.
Yeah.
Spoink will wait here. If they drive onto the cap, he shoots them in the back. If they watch for him, Oops their lineup will go through the 6 line and shoot them from the other side.
It's a really stale game. It looks like Rusty is actually expecting from Oops to do something, but yeah, why would Oops do anything? They already did everything they needed in this game.
They still have 6 minutes and 30 seconds though to maybe try and get that RT to work here. But
There is a slow crawl by Shevzhenian, finally entering the cap, trying to see why is Oops not there.
RT shell does seem like it missed onto Feaster Fetzak though, so big reload here as Shevzhenian does start the cap, but once Spoink decides to take the shot, the 140 RU251 heat goes through that frontal plate and should be able to get resets all day. So Rusty Roster now completely unaware, but they're actually playing in the favor of Oops.
Yes, they can just wait and reset with Rui in any moment they actually choose. And Rusty Roster even doesn't know that he's here. If they knew, they would have to pre-aim with 3 or 4 tanks up.
And even then, he's only peeking hull down. It's a very hard shot here.
He's Insane, really bored, and he's going up and down on the map.
It does look like that.
Okay. It's a Giraffe-ish
He
kind
might have seen
camo.
Shevzhenian go onto the cap and decided that he should get ready to rotate, because now he's coming off the mountain and he realizes that Rusty Roster has to be a little bit
Yeah, he
careful
definitely
here.
chose to go down and to gather up with the rest of his guys and start some rotations. Because honestly, Ru can reset only once or twice, but then everyone will aim him and he will be in great danger. By that time, you really need people to... There you go, the reset is in. By that time, you will actually need some rotation force to be in place. And they definitely know that Rusty Roster will not even attempt a cap 1. So Insane is not needed on that mountain anymore.
The thing I want from Spoink now, though, is not to peek the same angle again. We've seen RT hit there before because the Ru peeked the same angle. He has a lot of positions here where he can peek from, and he needs to play this smart because RT is going to be aiming here. And we can see Basista in the bush here, can spot the entire 6 line, but if he tries to take a single shell, there's 3 bad shots waiting for him.
Yeah, Basista is actually in really also good position to counter the C0 position, but there is no one there, so there is nothing to counter.
That looked like an RT shell coming in there.
You think that was a splash?
Trying to blind shot Spoink even at this point.
Yeah, but that would be foolish to waste a reload on something like that. Spoink has really a lot of time to peek whenever he wants, and he's actually doing the perma spot on Shevgenian, so the Sixth Sense doesn't trigger, so he cannot give the info to Artie.
It does look like, if you can see in the back there, the reload bar from the artillery. Taking a blind shot there, cannot agree with taking a blind shot in a crucial situation like this. Spoink will realize that as well, and he knows now he has a few seconds to pick out whenever he wants to, but is choosing not to, as he knows that he can land the reset at whatever point he wants. And if you wonder why he waits this long to make a reset, is look at the timer. They've already dragged the clock down to 3 minutes. Oh, Feaster gets absolutely wrecked by that artillery piece. Minus 1.8 KHP. It's the power of the M53. What a shot.
Aggressive action now by Insane. He's pushing on Basista, but he didn't know actually Basista was there, and that was a kind of problem for him.
Everything's falling a little bit to pieces here for Oops as Insane goes down, but they get Basista in return, and HP is completely even. Halu taking a little bit of damage here in return, takes some more even, and Feaster in that E5 so low from one RT shell, but Spoink in that RU251 is the crucial player at this point. As you can see him pepper Stepsisenian here in that Object 140.
But let's not forget who is attacking and who is defending here. Oops is defending and they have every possible advantage. Yes, Feaster is on low HP, but they have a lot of mediums they can choose to push or run away with, and always they have Spoink who can reset.
Yeah, Oops has the better positions here as they've cleared out Basista from that rock position, which was pretty annoying. Spoink getting the reset here with HE. Has to be careful from Artie still though, but Oops definitely in the advantage.
Guys, this is definitely the power of Light Tank. Light Tank that can also move around and have the same camo value same as when he's standing, and he can choose where to pick around. You see, they're always spotted, but they don't know from where. This is the final push by Rusty.
Yeah, Rusty Roster coming through that bottom side with 4 bad shots, and Feaster is a one-shot to any of those, so he does spot Figo here, but takes one shot in return.
I think he will manage to pull one more before they actually kill him, and Prosto, Yamto, and Figo are coming in for the kill.
The issue is still Spoink here though. Spoink can shoot him in the back of the turret. They do take down... Oh no! Pashka takes down Spoink in an RU251, and with 2 minutes left, might be able for Rusty to still make a move here.
You need like 40 seconds to cap, approximately, with 3 guys, but there is a lot of clippers on Oops' side that are alive. Algo will take care of the RT, that's for sure. And there will be 3 of them then against 4 or 5 guys, and a lot of them is on low HP.
But guns in the game though. Rusty Roster still having 6 guys alive in that artillery piece as well. Camille now taking half HP and damage. Silan's trying to run, take some damage more, but they only have to survive for 1 minute 30.
It doesn't really matter because HP of Rusty is so low. Figo is Prosto is actually the only one guy with some HP left, but pushing forward with the tank with no HP across these hills.
Mojo, they can start the cap. They can start capping here with 3 guys in force, but Silan speaks over, lands 2 onto Figo. Can he take him out? He doesn't take him out. He has only 1 more shell here, and he has to be careful, but Rusty Roster can go onto the cap. 3 guys onto the cap and force Oops to come back in. If they don't get the reset, they will lose this round. They only have time for 1 capture in reality. It goes down to 33 seconds here. But says the Semnian, and Prosto will try and shield this cap as Camille does take him down, and Algo has to be the one that makes the play here with his full HP batchet, as Camille should be getting out of here.
Camille just needs to cover his back and let Algo do the job now and earn his spot in the gold team.
Yeah, Prosto wants to take down Camille here, but Camille in such a strong position. Prosto has to back down, and it's all onto Algo here. Can he land the resets? Can he secure the game for his team as 5 seconds left on the cap? Algo takes down Jamto, and now Algo taking down Figo as well, and there's only Halu left, and it doesn't look like Rusty Roster will be able to take the capture here as with 2 guys left. And
well, Algo is on 1 shot, and it's questionable will he even survive. So Camille is on 100 HP against 2 one-shot guys, but they're on reload, and he will have the clay first.
With 15 seconds left, Camille should be able to secure the game.
We need to see, does Halu have any shots? If he has 1 shell, they can still win.
If Halu has 1 shell, it couldn't make a difference here. But
no, he's on reload also. There is no way to win. There is no way to win.
It's the only way. 2
yeah,
seconds,
maybe if he jumps over the he's not a monster truck, mate.
That will be Oops, though, picking up their first victory of the season. 5-0 in what a match on steps. Oops looked like they would control the entire time, but the thing